Hey everybody, this is Sensei Anthony calling from the Thomas Martial Arts and Fitness Academy, your home for realistic self-defense for both kids and adults. Now, what I want to talk about right now is news, but not in the way that you might think. I mean, for those of you who don't know, Jake Paul has signed a 2-fight MMA deal with a major mixed martial arts promotion, the Professional Fight League. Now, a lot of people are going to see this for what they think is a money grab. Now, my issue is not about the money part, because Jake Paul has a lot of money and he's made a lot of money boxing. He's chosen his opponents very well, and even with his victory over Anderson Silva, he beat a man who is 22 years older than him and probably a good 10 years past his prime. Now, that's fine. He wants to be taken seriously, so on and so forth. We get that. But when he has made an entry into mixed martial arts with zero professional mixed martial arts experience, it makes you wonder if this is a good thing or a bad thing for the sport. Now, you can argue like just with this boxing, well, the more eyes that are on MMA, maybe it gains more legitimacy or even more fans. Now, my issue with that is MMA doesn't need more legitimacy. It's 30 years old now. It'll be 31 in 2023, this year. And at least in the mainstream sense, it's actually older than that, but I digress. It doesn't need more legitimacy. And especially with the scandal with Dana White being slapped by and then slapping his wife. I mean, the head of a major promotion was just caught on camera being violent domestically. Good or bad, that's a lot of eyes on the sport, and I think it's going to cost the UFC a lot of fans. But in this case, with the Professional Fight League, the interesting thing is basically for the naysayers out there, often coming from the world of other combat sports like wrestling and boxing, it's like, oh, so anybody can do this if you have enough money to offer the promotion. Because even though the Professional Fight League presumably would be paying Jake Paul to fight, he's bringing a lot of potential pay-per-view revenue because people want to see if he's for real or not, if he's serious about his training, and all the stuff that goes along with that. Now, you have to ask yourself, he's had 0 amateur fights in MMA, but he's going to be licensed to fight at a high level in a professional mixed martial arts league. Now, all of us were like all up in flames when Conor McGregor, who has very limited boxing experience, some fights as an amateur, was able to fight one of the greatest fighters of our generation in Floyd Mayweather Jr. We know that was a money grab. It generated hundreds of millions of dollars. We saw what that was about. But I also think that a lot of people started to look down on the sport of boxing for allowing this clown show. It was easy money for Floyd. All real boxing fans knew how it was going to turn out, and it made tons of money. And it launched the career of the even louder mouth Conor McGregor, who clearly didn't belong in that ring. He's clearly not doing well in MMA. I mean, look what's happening here because of that one fight. This fight with, this fight with Jake Paul that's happening is going to bring eyes to the sport. But for those of you who are true mixed martial arts fans, does this do anything to legitimize your feelings about mixed martial arts competition? Does it make you feel like, my God, this is just a shameless money grab? You have to ask yourself, is this going to benefit the sport of MMA more than it benefits Jake Paul? His YouTube legacy is established. He's gaining credibility, although begrudgingly, with boxing fans. They've given him credit for training hard, so on and so forth. But what will this do for the sport of MMA? To me, as a traditional martial artist and a sometime MMA watcher, it's kind of like, man, they'll just let anybody do this now. If anything, it's going to encourage what I call stunt fights, money grabs, sideshow fights, all these kind of things. And it's going to do nothing to improve the legitimacy or the status of MMA in the eyes of anything less than the hardcore MMA fans who will watch anything they put out there, okay? So when you're thinking about this fight, I think it'd be really smart to not watch it. Everybody wants to be watching a spectacle. Everybody's curious. But look at what this is doing to your sport in the long run. It's showing people that if you have enough money and make enough noise, you can forego any amateur competition and go straight to professional fighting at a high level. Is there anybody who thinks they can just walk on and make it into a professional sport without adequate experience? You're crazy. It only exists in MMA in this way. If you want to play pro football, you better have some football experience and you better be good. Nobody just walks on to the football field at a professional level because they're a big name that draws money. You're going to get hurt, possibly permanently. If you think you're going to walk into boxing, again, all Conor McGregor freak show aside, and just walk into the top levels and fight a top level boxer, you're mistaken. It doesn't work that way. And every time it does, it proves that the exception to the rule is that, just the exception, and that it should not be allowed. This fight's going to bring a lot of controversy, it's going to bring a lot of eyes, but ask yourself, is this going to do anything for the sport? My answer is no. And I would implore you guys not to pay for it. You're going to see it in a week from somebody's upload anyway, but all this does is make the sport of MMA less credible. And with the Dana White thing going on, the fact that Phil Baroni is accused of killing his girlfriend in Mexico, none of this is going to be good for the sport. So if you want it to be viewed legitimately, cut out the antics. Don't let these sideshow fights happen and focus on the integrity of the sport as you see it. What do you guys think? If you have any questions, comment down there. I'd really appreciate if you liked, subscribed, and hit the notification bell. And until then, stay safe, stay sane, and keep training.